Why the narcissist wants you dead. I'm going to fucking kill you. You'd better do it or you're dead. I wish you were dead. You are going to die. You may well have heard such threats and declarations of intent from our kind, the savage lesser, who has erupted in a volcanic reaction of ignited fury, who grabs the kitchen knife and thrusts it through the air towards his victim, the self-pitying mid-ranger, who, in a tantrum of impotence and hatred, expresses his wish that you were dead, or the dread words delivered with the reptilian smile of the greater. Each school has its own ways of issuing this threat. Yet, is this just wishful thinking or a solid desire to see you dead? Are these words issued more for effect than the reality of murdering you, causing an accident, or hoping that some intervening act causes you to be wiped from this mortal coil? The general position is we do not actually want you dead in the sense of physically dead. There are notable exceptions which we shall address below, but it is rare for those exceptions to occur. Fact is that numerous commentators believe that we want you dead. The truth is, we do not. That is another myth that is held about our kind, that it is our ultimate desire, our final expression of victory, for us to kill you. It is largely incorrect, and here is why. 1. A dead appliance is a useless appliance. Your purpose is threefold to us, whether you are a tertiary, secondary, or primary source. You are to provide us with fuel, character traits, and/or residual benefits. And the more important the appliance in our fuel matrix, the more likely that you will provide all three, and do so impressively. Accordingly, if you are providing us with the very things that we want and need, it makes no sense at all to render you incapable of providing them. But I hear you ask, what of the appliances that are no longer functioning in the way that we want? A valid question. Firstly, when you stop functioning in terms of the provision of positive fuel, namely you do not provide enough, frequently enough, it runs stale, we switch to devaluation. And even though we hate you and paint you black for your treachery, no longer fulfilling your specified role through the provision of positive fuel, you still have a role to play. You become the fountain of negative fuel. Secondly, you still have a role to play with regard to the provision of character traits and residual benefits. You may be supporting us financially, taking care of us, running a household, caring for the children and other matters, which not only benefit us day to day, but support our all-important facade. Thirdly, you are required, for the purposes of triangulation with our other appliances and maintaining the provision of fuel, as we seek out your ultimate replacement. Now you ask, what then when we choose to disengage? Clearly we have no longer any desire to interact with you at all. Why not kill you then? This leads us on to the other reasons why we choose not to kill you. 2. Notwithstanding our contempt for rules, the law and regulations, the higher function of our kind are mindful of the adverse interference that comes from nosy law enforcement if we murder you. It brings unwanted scrutiny and the potential to fetter our right to do what we want, and we are not so stupid as to act in a way that will blatantly jeopardize that. 3. We treat you as dead without the inconvenience of actually killing you. We effectively delete you when we concentrate on the new IPPS through the new golden period. Accordingly, by ignoring you, removing you from social media postings, blocking you, not answering your messages or calls, then we have killed you. And this provides us with a far more satisfactory outcome. 4. You are kept alive for the inevitable Hoover. Although wanting to see you, interact with you, or indeed do anything with you at all is last on our list when we have disengaged from you, unconsciously there remains that advantage to be achieved by keeping you alive. So we can hoover you for fuel, positive or negative, or achieve this, as well as bring you back into the formal relationship to acquire the other aspects of the prime aims. Remember, there has been a considerable investment in you, and whilst we kill you by putting you from our minds during the golden period with the new intimate partner primary source, we will want to draw down on our investment in due course. Accordingly, there is no point physically killing you. 5. There are alternative methods where we can in effect murder you without the potential risk to liberty. Key ways that this is done are as follows. A. Character assassination. Listen to the video, The Paranoia of Character Assassination. B. Smearing. See the video, Smear and Loathing. C. Silent treatments. See, for instance, The Smiling Assassin and 17 Salvos of Silence. D. Devaluation as a whole. Thus, whilst we do not physically kill you, we slay your character, your reputation, your self-worth, your sense of existence, your connection to us, and we still continue to draw fuel from you, something we could not do if you were physically dead. 5. Punishment. By you remaining alive, we are able to punish you. This asserts and maintains our sense of superiority, enables us to draw fuel, and ensures that we feel a sense of achievement and retribution against you. It also means we can keep on punishing you, something that could not be done if we were to actually murder you. 6. By stating our intent or desire to kill you, this simple form of threat carries with it the ability to gain fuel from provoking a reaction from you, but also allows the establishment of superiority. It is a simple sentence, but one which carries significant power with it. This low usage of energy with maximum impact appeals hugely to our kind. Therefore, it makes far more sense for us to threaten than to execute. Yes, in that moment we do want to kill you or see you dead, because you have done something which has mortally offended us, and therefore our reaction in uttering those words is entirely in accordance with a desire to kill. But we do not actually do so, and ultimately we do not want to do so, because it goes against our fundamental needs. Thus, for all of these reasons, whilst we may say we want you dead or that we want to kill you, the reality is we do not, and we will not. Thus, this is the general rule. However, as with all rules, there are exceptions. What are the exceptions when the desire to kill is acted on? 1. The loss of control through ignited fury. Whilst the ignition of fury can potentially result in any school of narcissists entering a frenzy, whereby there is the commission of physical violence, it is the lesser who is most likely to murder as a consequence of the loss of control. This does not mean that all lessers will kill, but rather of all of the schools, when there is a serious loss of control resulting in the ignition of fury, then the lesser will want to kill and can and does kill. The fuel arising from the act as he stabs, bludgeons, throttles, or beats will be significant, but not enough to heal the wound that has resulted in the ignition of fury and the loss of control, meaning the murderous act continues until the victim lies dead. Therein, the fuel halts from the deceased victim. The narcissist may gain fuel from the reaction of witnesses, but ultimately that burst of fuel has gone with the demise of the victim. The murdering lesser may use the fact of his killing to gain fuel in the future, but as of now, he has lost a major appliance, if, for instance, he murdered his intimate partner primary source. Therefore, he will face a fuel crisis if he does not achieve fuel from alternative sources. 2. Going, gone. There are circumstances where the narcissist recognizes that the major fuel provider is on the way out, and thus the fuel is going to be lost anyway. This is not the situation where the appliance is escaping or leaving. Our narcissistic perspective of you, or its belonging to us, means that your escape, leaving, or departure is not something that will happen because we control you. And we will bring you back under our control through an initial Grant Hoover or through follow-up Hoovers. Thus, if someone is about to escape, move away, etc., this is not applicable. The situation of going, gone applies to where the appliance is at a risk of dying. There are two clear situations where this arises: terminal injury or illness and suicide. In respect of terminal injury or illness, the narcissist knows that the fuel source will not be around for much longer, and therefore helping this person on their way would appeal to particular narcissists. There also has to be a benefit associated with such an act, namely, doing it as an act of revenge for wounding, punishing for railing against a narcissist's control, and such like. With regard to suicide, if the narcissist recognizes that the victim is at a very low ebb, and therefore is likely to end their own life and thus deprive, in one final act, of treacherous defiance, the narcissist of fuel, etc., the narcissist will encourage that individual to take their life and push them over the edge. This is rare, but accords with the desire on the part of the narcissist to punish and gain revenge. This punishment and revenge goes beyond that normally experienced and would be as a consequence of a major exposure and/or major wounding. Thus, if an individual is in a position whereby suicidal ideation occurs, the narcissist is aware of this and senses that it is likely to occur. The narcissist, in accordance with his or her godlike view of themselves and the need to exact punishing revenge, will pressure, cajole, encourage, and manipulate to push the victim over the edge so he or she commits suicide. 3. Malice. A greater narcissist wants you dead. There is no going gun scenario which would be harnessed by any of the schools of narcissists. In this instance, the malicious and calculating greater has determined that your death is required. Again, this is rare, and the greater will have evaluated that the loss of a useful appliance is offset by the need to disincentivize this individual. There will be no clumsy, rage-filled lesser bludgeoning or pillow smothering mid-ranger with a dying cancer-ridden parent. Here, the greater sees you as a problem, an obstacle which must be removed. Usually, it will be because the greater recognizes that you have access to information which will cause him or her considerable difficulty, or that you have the ability to create a significant exposure problem. The greater will not go down this route lightly. Instead, he or she will look to manipulate the situation in an alternative manner, but ultimately, the greater's malicious core, their need for the maintenance of the status quo, and their superiority means that sometimes, there is a need to remove an individual completely. It may be made to be an accident, it may be subtle, it may involve a contract killing, but certain individuals, on rare occasions, will be removed because they pose a threat to the greater's plans and control. The individual may be a romantic appliance, a business appliance, or a familial appliance. But if the greater deems their removal necessary, and this outweighs the benefits of continued punishment, torture, and fuel provision from this individual, then they will be disincentivized. Thus, the prevailing circumstances are that we do not want you dead, no matter how many times it might be threatened, because an alive appliance is a very useful appliance. However, on rare occasions, there will be exceptions.